Welcome back to the Bridget Mavandla Justice College. And of course, today, unpacking what we saw yesterday at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. That was the first day of evidence from the leader of the National Coloured Congress, Fadiel Adams, and joined now by our two analysts this morning, Professor Kholofelo Rakubu, who's a criminologist at the Tshwane University of Technology, and of course, Mike Bolhuis, a Specialised Security and Investigations expert. Thanks so much to both of you for coming through. Let's just get straight into it. Your assessment of day one, Prof?
Day one, we got to understand the so-called investigator whistleblower witness dynamic, where one wanted to be in that umbrella and intertwine the three, but it did not work because of lack of corroboration in critical areas. But then he is a significant witness because it's not your conventional institutional witness. He comes with multiple roles, but then I don't think we got much. We got evasiveness, and again he got to be taken to task with when he corroborated the fact that he was trying to play hide and seek in there. But then he comes in with a tainted credibility, so it's very complex. The testimony is a bit complex. It requires one to then verify aspects because he comes with undocumented information or sources or unverified sources, because this commission relies heavily on corroboration, evidence, and so forth. And I think it's going to go deeper into identifying or trying to figure out an angle which is coming in, because he comes in as whistleblower that tend to investigate, that also comes at a counter-attack. He doesn't provide much to justify some of the action, but comes in to then sway the commission into a different direction, where then he can look, he can be looked at as accuser, as someone with sensitive intelligence material, but he can't disclose or even talk to that unverified intelligence material. So it's very complex.
And we're going to come to that. Buta, what was your interpretation?
Yeah, I'm still surprised. We've seen it all along in this commission that, you know, truth has a ringing sound to it. It's ping. It's not pong. You know, we all see through it. We can see it when there's BS. And especially when you're a politician and you've got actually a very prominent and specific and important role that you can play, that you lie. The lies will identify you, and that's what will stick, not the truths in between the lies. And that's very problematic, and exactly as the Prof has said, this taints the whole situation of credibility. And it is a pity, because I have seen many of these gentlemen now identified as criminals starting out good but ending up evil, abusing power. At a stage they find themselves where they can just say what they want, do what they want, go what they want, and feel as they want, and then act that out and abuse power and think they can get away with it. But the Madlanga Commission is brilliant, and it's exposing that, and it's wonderful, and it should be going on to infinity, because it leaves the media, the public informed behind, and we all can see what is true and what is false, and that will influence votes and support and so forth. So I pray that the Commission and the investigators get to the bottom of Adams' situation, so we can see what is really true and what is false. But unfortunately, he will be known for the lies and the deviousness.
Okay, the lies and the deviousness. What are you pointing to right now, given what we heard yesterday?
Well, you know, it's not my place to presently do a complete evaluation stating an identification and even a risk analysis of what is included and excluded. It must still be uncovered. So, you know, us as specialist investigators, we don't speculate. He has to fully and totally. You know, if I can give him advice, he can just state that he's prepared to go for a forensic polygraph. But it's exactly like the Prof has said. If you don't have real evidence, documentation, recordings, all the things that has been said, presented, it's very easy If I have facts, I present it. And then I immediately afterwards say I'm prepared to give a sworn affidavit and be forensically polygraphed on that. Do we see that?
So we saw already yesterday, right at the onset, where the Commission asked for evidence of from the interview that he did after his postponement last week, where he spoke to the media, did Fadiel Adams, and he spoke about presenting evidence, and the Commission asked for that evidence about the communication, and his laptop situation, which of course he was unable to provide, save for the one instance where he used his colleague's computer because he said his was acting up. But you know, it's going to be interesting because, as we were saying, and Kenny and I were talking about this earlier, that chronology of events, given Fadiel Adams's complaint to IDAC in his Section 27 referral, that becomes critical in what subsequently then happens with the arrest of General Khumalo and others. So he's going to have to explain to the Commission why, firstly, the chain of events unfolded the way it did with regard to the urgency that he said was missing in terms of the investigation into his complaint, but secondly, also his dockets that went missing.
You're a complex one, but largely I agree with the boss here. With lack of, I don't think he can be able to talk to that. Whatever is in the media that he promised, it looks like it's not there. But again, one wonders with the powers that he thought he had to then go to IDAC, what provided room for him to even find expression, or his queries find expression in IDAC. Of interest is to then wonder how he got hold of that intelligence material that he cannot even verify. And again, docket going missing. So we're dealing with a complex figure without evidence, which again suggests wrongdoing. We're not speculating as yet, but this commission is usually dealing with verifiable evidence. So how do you then come here without such? So it's very, today we're just expecting to see what is going to bring on board, because there must be records, right? There must be proof. There must be chain of emails or communication. And I guess the commission, just like any other witness, I'm sure it has done extensive investigation to tap into records, accounts, and so forth. So we might live here with a different picture, because now we suspect a picture when it comes to this witness, but we might get scientific evidence today. I'm sure the commission is going to take him to task with regard to how certain decisions were taken. I'm sure there was a communication or WhatsApp or instruction or even an audio recall somewhere. I'm sure that they're going to bring on the table that no, this evidence you got from so and so, because we are largely interested in the time frame around when the particular envelope allegedly was then put under his door, which doesn't also make sense, because now the commission is interested in such information. But I'm sure within records they're going to find something that is just going to prove that he's going to be found wanting at the end of the day.
To that point, when it comes to classified information, and if Fadiel Adams, as he says, he found this information, it was on the floor in his office, purportedly pushed under the door, but he finds that, and when he opens it, and this goes to all of us, and I'm trying to get an understanding of how one deals then with classified information once it is brought to your attention, or in this case, if someone slips it under your door. What are you to do as an ordinary citizen?
Well, I just want to quickly say there, you know, I'm surprised that a person of such a position don't come prepared the very first day. Why must the commission talk to you like a schoolboy and say, hey, where's your stuff? And now today, what? So once again, if you have a prominent position, you come prepared with everything, absolutely everything. When you get any classified information, it is imperative that you find out where it comes from. If you can't, you must identify who is responsible to get that information. It must be immediately presented. You must audio and video everything from the moment it was pushed through under the door to you opening it up with a witness. And you must make sure that you identify the information, completely evaluate it and do a risk analysis, and then make sure that the necessary authorities and parties involved immediately get it. There's no such thing as holding it or you know, then later bringing it forward. It doesn't work like that. Any information is always imminent if it is in any way classified or a crime or whistleblowing or information that can make immediate difference.
I think he said he had made copies of some of that information that was contained in there. So, you know, and this is, of course, for the benefit of all of us. Should we find ourselves one day in this position where suddenly we are in possession of classified information, are you allowed to do that?
You are allowed, but once again, it must be audio, videoed with a witness, and it must be done with an authority, with proper stamps, that it's authentic and verified. Because nowadays, especially with AI and with all forms of manipulation and influence, anybody can just say, hey, here's a copy. Even with phone records, it needs to be done in a specific way by the high-tech police unit. So that's why I say, you know, if you're in that position, you do things correctly from the beginning. Otherwise, it won't stand.
And you know, then of course, there's also now the issue of when a charge was laid at a police station, and how long does it usually take for you to receive any sort of communication follow-up? Because I think as lay South Africans, we've become accustomed to waiting even 2 days before you can even get a case number to anything. So, you know, Fadiel Adams seems to, within a 24-hour period, felt that there was no urgency in how the police were dealing with his complaint.
It talks to also how he got to receive that classified information, the agency, and also how agitated he was for that classified information to then receive agent attention. I do not even think he followed the usual channel because of what? The interest in that classified information. I also don't think he was surprised by that information, and I think he knows where he got that information. And the commission is going to unpack and uncover where he got that information. That is why he wanted that information to then find expression there by IDAC. It was not for ordinary, because he was looking for quick and urgent response, just like how it happened. Because I'm sure if it followed the normal, usual South African channel, it was going to be thoroughly interrogated, right? And might have ended up in the right hands where he was going, the matter was going to be interrogated extensively, and the right decision might have been taken. But because it looks like it was a targeted information or plan, then it had to then go through, and justification will be that I tried this and that without evidence, again, to say I tried and it did not work. But because you wanted South African, or you wanted a hullabaloo around the matter, then it was even, I think it was even awaited for by whoever received it at IDAC to then stop everything and proceed it the way they did.
We're out of time, but Mike, I must quickly ask you, Fadiel Adams also complained about the way his arrest took place and how he was transported to KZN.
Well, bad luck for him. As I've said, he has identified himself, and arrogance has a fall. If you're arrogant and if you have an attitude, then the authorities that's dealing with you are going to treat you as such. If you treat the police with respect, it's a different story. And if you make an issue of it, it becomes an issue. Once again, I must say, his personality and what he started out to do, I fully respect, and I actually like it, because he's against poverty, he's against crime, he stands for all the good stuff. But why mess it up? Why collude? Why do exactly as she has said here? Why?
But that has not been established as
Yeah,
yet.
but why
But
make
he's
moves?
going
It's quite. We'll see the glasses on today
Yeah.
and further. It will be unpacked, but why not being completely honest and transparent? Once again, you must remember, if you tell a lot of truths and you tell one or two lies, what is going to stand out?
Lies.
Well, that's where we're going to have to leave it for this morning. And of course, we'll continue to watch these developments. But thanks so much to Professor Rakubu and Mike Bolhuis there who are helping us with some analysis from yesterday's testimony by Fadiel Adams. It's back to studio right now. And then, of course, the news at the top of the hour. And Canny will be back with me for another look at what we saw yesterday.